A little bit. Chef's privilege. Oh, taste of a charred grilled steak. If you ask me, there is not a better way to be cooking. Outside. Fresh air. I mean, I'm not in the middle of nowhere, obviously. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sheds within an earshot, and then all the houses around further, but it's just nice. Smell of smoke. Can't beat it. The only other problem with cooking with this method is if you're used to touching your meat, don't look at me like that, that smells amazing. That smell, proper char grilled, flame grilled meat, cannot beat it. Hey ho, welcome back to the garden. We're going to cook fajitas, but we're going to cook fajitas, I think it's called Caveman style. Literally, we're going to put big massive ribeye steak directly on those searing hot coals. Perfect way to cook steak. You actually get less flare ups because there's no air between the steak and the coals. So, cooking ribeye. Now, if you really like steak, ribeye is really good. The only problem with ribeye is it's a bit tricky to cook. It's very lean like a fillet, but because it's a muscle from the rump of the cow, the arse, it does a lot of hard work, it can be quite tough. So you need to cook it kind of to like a medium rare medium, otherwise it can be a bit chewy, but can't go past that because it'll get quite dry. So this way is really a great way to cook it. Doing fajitas, so I'm going to cook some veggies in a cast iron pan afterwards, so that's just on there preheating for now. I'm going to get that out of the way. Put that down there. Slide the grill grate over. Oh, actually, I can leave that pan there. Keep him warm, can't I? Right, so, simple as. Rump steak. Bit of oil. Bit of salt. Same as we normally would. And we're just going to get that bad boy straight down on these coals. Just going to leave it. Ain't going to take very long. 2-3 minutes each side. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take it off to rest it in that bit of foil while we cook our veggies. I don't know if you can see this with the sunlight. So I've just got some sliced pepper, sliced onion, and in here is just a spice blend. Teaspoon of oregano, dried. Teaspoon of dried thyme. Teaspoon of dried cumin. Teaspoon of dried paprika. Smoked paprika. And I love this method of cooking because you don't even actually need a barbecue. You just need somewhere you can safely start a fire. So you just got a metal box up on a couple of bricks, or if you've got a fire pit, just as good. If you're going to cook like this, though, you do need quite a thick steak. A thin steak's just going to burn and shrivel up and disintegrate. But lamb and pork both cook this way really well as well. Right, for a couple of minutes. Oh, losing that steak. Pull it over. No, I'm going to leave it a couple more minutes on that first side. Not quite developed as nice a char as I want. What you can do, if you've got a lot of coals, you can drag the coals up over the top if you wanted to. Almost like putting a little oven there. As always, go to your butchers. Buy meat from a cow that had a name. That might sound a bit morbid, but it's genuinely the best, most sustainable way. Have a little peek again. Yeah, I'm going to turn that over now. You're not going to quite get the same sort of browning, Maillard sort of reaction that you would in a pan. Don't know why. Maybe you can and I'm just doing it wrong, but I'd imagine it's some sort of science in there. But the payoff, the flip side of that is you get so much more smoky char. Yeah, if you want, just pick up some of those lit coals and chuck them on top. The only other problem with cooking with this method is if you're used to touching your meat, don't look at me like that. If you're used to touching your meat in order to gauge its doneness, you can't really. Temperature probe, you've got one with a long enough thing you can get there, but your best bet is to just trust your gut. You can always take it off, have a little look, have a feel, and then put it back in if you need to. Again, premium lumpwood charcoal does cost more, and it's not harder to get lit if you know what you're doing. If you get some proper decent firelighters, not the petrol ones. I've put them away now. They're little corn on the cobs that haven't got any of the corn left, that are dried out and then coated with beeswax. 100% natural, start a fire really easily. It's going to be a bit blackened and charred, obviously, you've been cooking it on an open fire, but you get such a smoky, charred with flavour out of this, it's just unreal. Right, so call that done. Like I said, you don't want to go too well done with this, but you do need to go a bit better than just a rare, it can be a bit tough. So we're just going to put that in this tin foil. If there's any big chunks of charcoal left, you want to pull them off, because the charcoal isn't edible. We'll wrap that up, and we'll put it up here where it's warm to rest. At the same time, I've got some pitters, tortillas in some tin foil as well. They're going to go up there just to warm through. And we are gonna get our pan and just put that straight back down on the coals as well. Don't forget, this it's just a heat source, okay? It doesn't really matter. Obviously, it's not got the control of a gas hob or an electric hob. It's just hot, whether you like it or not. But you can see that oil shimmering already, so we're just gonna sliced onion, a couple of sliced red onions, a couple of sliced red peppers. Spritzes of high smoke point oil in there as well. We're just going to give them a generous season of salt, spice blend, a little squidge of oil on top of that, and I should have brought a stirry thing. I'll be right back. Right, so we're just going to give that a stir, make sure nothing's burning. If it does start to get too hot and things start to look like they are going south, put it up off the coals, put it on a rack. You can put any pan on a barbecue, really, but because of the robustness of cast iron, it does just work, and it's something old-fashioned and cool about it as well. But like I said, you don't even need to do this on a barbecue. If you've got a fire pit, you can cook over wood, you can cook over coals. I mean, if you've got a gas barbecue, you might as well have just done this on a hob. You can't put. Don't put the steak directly on the gas burners. If you've got a gas barbecue, you just have to cook it in the grill like anyone else. And put them a little bit closer to the heat because they're not warming up at all. A little check of these peppers, make sure they're relatively cooked. Go a little bit longer. I like them to still got a little bit of crunch, but a little bit too raw. And I'm going to call that tortillas out. Just warm through, hopefully. Grab our pan. Right, just leave that there to cool down. And those veg, we're just gonna give them a quick squitz of lime. Just to wake it all up a little bit. I'm gonna go back inside, we're gonna finish these off indoors. I'll probably eat outside, but the lighting's a bit more forgiving. I've got better work surface and nice to take photos, so we're all done. So I'm gonna wrap up and I'll catch you inside. So here's our steaks. Well, it's one big steak, but put it off onto a chopping board. It's still quite hot. And what I like to do is any resting juices like that, I'll just tip in with our vegetables. Because it's flavour, I don't want to waste it. And go what's on that board. It's just resting juices. You'd put it back into a sauce. Right, so with rump, I think we've crossed this before, covered this before. Like I said, any steak that can be a bit tougher and a bit more chewy, if you cut it against the grain, so you can see these lines running across here. If we were to cut it that way, you'd be chewing through an entire grain part of the steak. If we slice it thin this way, it's already, so it pulls apart along those lines. So you've got to do a lot less work chewing it. And so what helps as well, because obviously for fajitas, we want this really quite thin anyway. So I'm just going to thinly slice our steak. Nice sharp knife. Maybe should have rested this a little bit longer as well, because it is bleeding out a bit, but you know, I've only got so much time on my hands. I need to eat at some point, it's getting late. A little bit. Chef's privilege. Oh, taste of the charred grilled steak. So this one as well, you can see on this side, the grain's a bit more all over the place, but it's kind of running this way, so I'm just gonna, these end bits like this, They are godly on a steak that's been cooked like this. It's got such a meaty, minerally, beefy flavour to it. Even a ribeye doesn't really come close to. But the problem with it is because it is from a tougher area of the cow, it is a bit more difficult to cook. People tend to shy away from it because it's seen as being the cheap cut. It is the cheap cut, but that's why you should really take advantage of that. And you cook it the right way, and cut it the right way. It's just, you see how that's just all falling apart pretty much. That's going to be no effort to chew. So let's make a fajita. So I've got some pre-made guacamole. Link in the corner for my recipe guacamole. Simple, avocado, lime, salt. I've diced a bit of chili in there, and I've put a bit of coriander as well. A bit of sour cream as well, because I like a bit of sour cream in a tortilla. In a fajita. Right, so simple as what I like to do. Smear of guacamole. Please don't buy the pre-made stuff in a packet or the stuff in a jar. Make it yourself. It's quicker, it's easier, it's cheaper. Smear of sour cream and some veggies. Some pepper, some onion. Go on with some lovely, nice, tender Caveman style rump, char grilled rump steak. And that's a fajita to end all fajitas. You want some hot sauce on there? Nice bit of hot sauce to go on top well, or even sriracha. I know it's not Tex-Mex. This isn't the traditional Mexican deal anyway. This is what Mexican ranch hands used to eat in Texas. So I suppose it's been around long enough now to technically be traditional, but this is gorgeous. I'm not going to eat it in front of you because it's too big, too much of a mess. I'm going to take some nice photos of it for the gram. Right, I'm going to have a beer, I'm going to have some fajitas, going to have a nice little quiet evening, and there. Like, comment and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. Get out in your garden, do some cooking. Buenas noches. I guess it's kind of late. I'm going to have some fajitas. See you later. Bye.